What is going on, people of the internet, chatbot builders, AI and AI automation agencies in the house? What is going on, y'all? We have got a very, very special guest tonight on the Chatbot Builder AI Podcast. How are y'all doing? Do we have anybody here? Is anyone hanging out with us tonight? Of course they are. My man, what's going on? You don't need tickets here, baby. Ryan's got you covered. You know I would never let you pay for tickets. Got obviously Asta in the house. Yes, sir. This is going to be fire. This is going to be so much fun. Ryan, you're next. I might have to give you an invite up here and let you jump up here in a second, but I'm not going to be rude and I'm not going to keep my guests waiting because, I'm just a little guy. I'm a small fry, as they say, and who y'all are going to meet today. Let's just say he's made it to the big leagues, y'all. Literally. And he's going to tell you a little bit about it. This is just such huge news for our community. And if you don't know, I love our community. And my man Gary here, Gary number 2. We got 2 awesome Garys, but this Gary here just made it to the big leagues, y'all. And so help me welcome to the stage. What is going on, my man? How's it going? How are you? It's been a while. I've been trying to get you to join me for a minute, and you said, wait. I've got to have the right time. And I think now is as good a time as any, right?
Yeah, this isn't even in my wheelhouse, really. It kind of just fell into my lap.
Totally.
So it's pretty cool. Hopefully it can give you guys some encouragement and get you out there and just start talking about this stuff, because that's really how this happened. Is my daughter actually showing somebody some examples I made, and next thing you know, like, hey, your dad did that, and like next thing I know, I'm talking to this guy that's talking to this guy, and boom, all of a sudden it's becoming something pretty big. So I had a simple pirate chatbot that I did, and she was so entertained with it. She's like, I could sit here and talk to this thing for 30 minutes. Like, It's so entertaining. And then I did another one where you could build a Ford car of your dreams. And she was showing that. She's like, this is amazing. And she was down in a coffee shop talking to somebody, showing him. The guy overheard her and said, your dad did that? Can I talk to him?
Wow.
It's that simple, guys. Just get out there and talk about it.
Hey, there's something to be said, right? Your network is your net worth, and sometimes your network is just in real time, right? And it doesn't have to be all online, guys. It doesn't have to be all this cold email stuff, right?
Nope.
Real life happens.
I'll tell you, I went to there's a marketing agency here that some of you might know. I think Danny knows. And I went to one of their meetings because they were talking about AI, and right at the tail end, they were talking about GPTs and how they wanted to get using them. I'm like, we can do that right now, and I can't tell you the people that came up to me at the end of that, just because I said that. I said one little tiny comment in that meeting, and boom, everybody wanted to talk.
I've been saying, we are just very lucky as chatbot builders in the AI world right now, because with the technology available, we can do things that people just don't even understand exist.
Exactly.
And before we get too deep, just why don't you give the folks a little bit of background on who you are, how you got into chatbots, how you found us, and what that maybe aha moment was. What do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Okay, so I started a long time ago, 1995, 96 at the time. I was doing websites, and there's a guy up there in Utica, New York. That's where I was living at the time. Say how long ago, and we did a website for him, and then he called us into his office, and he's like, I want to hook the back end of my warehouse into my website so I can do inventory and sell things online. Now, granted, this is before even Amazon was around. I mean, they were there, but it was for books. And I thought the guy was crazy, but he's like, no, come on, we're going to get on a plane to Miami, and we're going to do this. Sure enough, we did it. We built an e-commerce platform for him. That kind of took me from websites to software. I had no idea I was going that route. But sometimes God takes you in the way he wants to take you.
100%.
That's what happened.
100%, and sometimes what we think our path is going to be and what we think the best way is turns out might have been the worst way. And turns out what a bad situation could be might be the best situation ever. Yeah. And in your case, that was the best situation ever scenario in the chatbot world, I would say.
Even before chatbots. This is like 1998. Then I got into doing plugins for. We did an AI, not an AI, an act. We call it Active Edit, and it was just a plugin that sat in the middle of a web page. And I think in 1998, you couldn't like edit your web page.
Oh, totally.
There was no way to do that. We were the first one that ever came out with a way to do that, and we sold that thing all over the place. So many developers.
And so but before that, this is 1995. I'll show my age here. I was 5. I was 5. Now, believe it or not, I was playing on computers at age 5. I think I was, I believe the program was called Lenny's Music Tunes. And this was like the most popular game. I don't remember it, but like my parents like still get haunted by the songs that I made on that game. But knowing at a young age like it was possible, like someone made this, I was always curious about like making video games, making software. I didn't know we would ever be able to make things like we can today. But so I call them my OGs, and when I refer to OGs, I typically refer to chatbot builders back before Chat and GPT was thought of. This was your chat fuel days, your mini chat days, or if you're a super gangster programmer, you could write the whole thing in JSON if you really wanted to. But that's about as deep as far back as I go. So from 1995 to now, it's like, man, there's no like I remember like back then we're using the floppy disks, right?
Yeah. So here's how I found out about the internet, right? One of my friends came down to New York City. I was living in the city at the time. And so he comes down and we're going into Times Square for New Year's Eve. And it was pouring rain out, and so we're going through Grand Central, and I look up in the corner and there's internet. And I'm like, oh, I heard about that. I'm like, let's just go up there and check it out. And little did I know that that would change my life. I went down Monday morning, got the disc, got on the internet. I'm like, oh my god, I can make a web page. This is crazy. And that's how we started the business right from there.
The internet, I think, it's safe to say that it did change the world. For me, it wasn't the internet that changed the world for me. To me, what really just unlocked the matrix was MySpace.
Yeah.
And then the thought of Tom, who's my friend still to this day, because I'm sure I still have a MySpace account. Probably haven't logged in 10 years. Right. But Tom was the man. He was everyone's friend, and he unlocked the matrix of social media and what it is today. And for me, that was my internet moment of the aha.
I didn't really get into social media and all that too much because I was in email marketing for a while. So we built an email server, and we sold that to not to MailChimp. We were in the final stages with MailChimp, but we didn't get that.
MailChimp money, baby.
Yeah, but we did quite a few other email service providers. We were the back-end mail server for them for quite a few years.
That's so awesome. So I know who to, when I need to borrow money next time, I'm coming to you, baby. Just so you know, you just made it clear. So software money and SaaS money and AI money is just different. That's the new tech money.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
That's the problem. When we did the email software, we didn't do the SaaS part of it. So
I totally understand that. My father, I've told this story before, but growing up, like when the BlackBerry was a thing, most of the audience here probably doesn't know what a BlackBerry is, let alone have seen one. But I remember being in the car as a kid, and then him like getting an email, like made that BlackBerry ding, and he sold software, like as a side hustle before side hustle was a thing back then, before Gary Vee was even on YouTube. This was way before YouTube, and but he was selling software. He works for the government now, still doing government IT stuff, but software like he made is like what our GPTs are today is his software, and that was a different sort of thing. Like you bought the license and that was it, and so I get it. And for me, I remember the transition period where it's like you could get these apps on your iPhone to buy this expensive software that was sometimes out of reach. And maybe go to Pirate Bay if you were poor like me at the time, couldn't afford to get the thing. And then now it's all subscription based. I feel like I mean they're basically just like we do. We want to be a utility, in a lot of cases, or just be so needed, so required that you're always there. That's kind of how I've played the game. I'm providing such a value that it's not even it's a no-brainer to keep me or the system or whatever it is around.
Yeah.
That's what software does. So what got you in chatbots?
So 2018, I started the mail server. We stopped selling it, and then started to go downhill. And so I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? I want to do something. I don't want to sit around and do nothing. So it was right when COVID hit, and I saw this guy post online saying, hey, I want somebody to do a chatbot for me. I knew about MiniChat a little bit. I played around with it, bought somebody's template, was playing around with it, trying to get used to what it was doing, what it was all about. And I saw this guy post about AI. I'm like, okay, well, now I'm interested more. So I built him an AI chatbot with Dialogflow. And I'm like, this is really cool. This is what I'm going to do. But I found out quickly that I wasn't going to do that on that platform.
Yeah, well, I'll say this, forever in the whether it was Chat Fuel or MiniChat or rest in peace Mobile Monkey.
Yep.
I don't know what they're called now, but they're no longer called that. Well, those are like the big three that I can recall from back in the day. And yeah, it's just the landscape has just changed so much. But Dialogflow has been that Google product that they always got to get their piece of the pie that deliver a thing that's missing. That was for what I considered the real gangster chatbot builder when you were including things like Dialogflow or back then and and then you were right under that, right underneath that level if you were using things like bot sheets, for example. Shout out to Josh and Michael because those are some good dudes. But they solved some really big problems. But then as companies, this is what I've seen, and this is what I think that old Musk has kind of proven in a way. The big giant tech company, the big giant corporate model, compared to or competing with the smaller, harder working, maybe more hungry folks out there, or agencies, entrepreneurs, hustlers, and AI. I think this is just a different kind of force to be reckoned with when you couple that with social media and what brought us all together, the internet. These three things, our powers combined, you know what I'm saying? This is the Matrix. And the network thing, I think that's just something that you get put in the right place at the right time, make yourself available, make it known what you're doing. That's really what it's about. And I think you're going to get a ton of more business from not only just this episode, because it looks like we've got about 19 million viewers right now in Chatbot World, at least on maybe not just on planet Earth, other planets included that we can't see all their numbers because they got hidden metrics and all that. Well, that's another episode. But what I'm thinking is, after you see some mega success, which I think you will with your project, that is, I hope you're going to speak about next, it's just going to be a snowball effect, because that's exactly what I saw and continue to see. Do you want to talk a little bit about what the promo is, or is that kind of under wraps for now? I didn't ask about that.
Yeah, it's kind of under wraps right now a little bit.
Totally. That's totally cool. Well, whenever make a promise that whenever you can tell us about it, you will, because we're going to have you back.
We will definitely do that, and then you and I need to talk a little bit offline.
We will, for sure. Oh, absolutely. We'll do what we got to do, baby, make it happen. And that's another big thing, guys. And I think a lot of people are coming to realize, we are a smaller company, but we're competing at a level that I think that most people have just no idea. And we're so small that we can still be nimble and make quick choices and pivot this way, or integrate this thing, or help this agency out with this special thing if it needs to be a thing, and in your situation, it's a no-brainer. You've been at A1 since day one. You saw the vision, and some people are more and more people are getting it now, that we're about to just take over this whole thing. And to me, it could be so cool to just be that person or that agency that can niche down to be the AI sports guy, something like that, to be the AI, major events person or sports person, By the way, whoever's watching that has the hookup with the UFC, I totally want someone to have like a UFC chatbot, man. Like I think that could be just so cool. Think about interacting with your favorite UFC fighters and stuff, man. He's like, shut up, Ryan. I'm talking to them next, bro. Shut up. Just kidding. All right, so I got some other questions here for you. Thanks to old Chat GP Tizzle here. So what? Oh, here's a big one. What are your thoughts on the recent? Sorry, Mr. Mike. Every time I'm just beating this guy up. What do you think about the brand new GPT store that has just been released?
Honestly, I've been too busy integrating my product with yours, so I haven't paid as close attention to it as I probably should.
You're not missing anything.
No, that's what I mean, I looked at it real quick. I played with a couple of them real quick, and I can do everything I need to do in your product, so why am I bothering with that thing?
It's true. Like I think, the example, just so y'all know, the YouTubers out there, I'm not a YouTuber. I'm on YouTube, but I'm not a YouTuber. So some of my videos, especially my more fun ones that I'm sure that you've been a part of, some of them get like unlisted immediately because I don't care who sees them unless whoever sees them sees them, And so, you got to be in the moment to catch some of this good stuff here. And I think this is going to be one where we're going to have major bombs just drop throughout, and we'll keep it up full time. But let's see, what do you think this GPT store, like, I think that they're nothing more than custom instructions that other people can use, hooked in with an API. But I think that the last episode that I did an example on was we made a lead gen bot, right? Basically just saying, collect the email, first name, last name, phone number, and then whatever the metric, like one thing was, like, I don't know, what car do you want, for example. And so then in the GPT store, it's like, okay, well, once you've got that information, what do you do with it? Okay, in the GPT store, as a business or a brand or as a Major League Baseball or NFL football team, what can you do with that information? Basically, the answer is not much without a lot of, quote, GTP actions, or just call it programming, because that's what it like really is. And that's where we make it to where you're not bound by an OpenAI schema or any JSON or XML language you don't need to worry about. You just need to worry about your creativity and the problems that you're going to solve. I think that is like where we are today. I think I just read a headline from somewhere. So, some people are making this a joke, but, the headline was like, coding is dead or programming is dead. While it's not completely dead, like what he's saying is it's going to be done with natural language now. I forget who this person is, but do you feel like that's where things are headed? Like the better at language you are, the potentially better program you could make?
I don't see that happening right away. Maybe down the road. Right. I'm still coding today. And still will be, I think it's for a while. It's a great tool to have, like, oh man, I forgot how I did that before. Instead of going and finding it in my code somewhere, I just ask ChatGPT now because it has it.
Totally. They can fix, like, that's what I use it for most, is just fixing problems. I think like
you said one day, like a stupid dot somewhere or a bracket, you can't find
one thing and it messes, like, like I sneeze and I've hit the keyboard and now like where is the mistake? And before AI, this is the thing that I hate. It was like it made me not want to do anything with any programming or coding or anything, because I get frustrated with those very, very, like, so I'm all about the details, but in my book, it's like some details just don't matter when you want to go fast. And so, like, that's what's like been the total unlock. So like the past 2 years, even using stuff like, Jasper, Jarvis, whatever, there's been a lot of tools out there before ChatGPT that I had no idea how they were doing it. Truthfully, I was like, how are these programs being busted out like this? Tap the Table was my program, and we had our own AI, essentially keyword AI, if you will, or e-commerce AI. But then, boom! As soon as this API existed, for me, that, like, the first time, I forget which exact moment, but like it was really, like Joel said, really the first experience with that chatbot blew my mind, and all I wanted was access to that API, like to do anything I wanted with. And like I was like, oh my gosh, this is limitless. So I was like, can I do this? Can I do that? And now I was just blown away. But I remember like the one sad moment for me, and I use the example of a Sheryl Crow song. I don't know why. She used to text me all the time, so anyways, but I asked it for certain song lyrics. Like
when I lived in Orlando, she lived.
Stop.
I swear. She lived.
Well, she was soaking up the sun in Orlando, wasn't she? That's so funny. That's so amazing. Well, she's a cool person. Actually, there's the man, we get so off topic. It feels like these podcasts, it's more like just talking to my friends more than anything at this point. But yeah, hit me.
Your first client was Holiday Inn, right, in Hilton Head?
Holiday Inn Express. Yep, on Hilton Head.
Worked there back a long time ago.
No way.
Yep.
Huh. I wonder if I wonder how long ago.
A long time ago. She was in her 20s.
So okay.
30 years.
Okay. Gotcha. So yeah. Yeah, okay, gotcha. Yeah, because I've been on this island for a minute, you know what I'm saying? I don't, but anyways, that's an excellent property, like directly across from the beach. So like that was cool. And actually, so I tell people all the time, here's a tidbit for those of you that have your notepads open, trying to get the good stuff here. From day one, when I was going to get my first chatbot clients, or not chatbot clients at this time, it was social media mostly, but I was integrating the chatbots into the social media, and so like the first one I did was the Holiday Inn Express, but this at the same time, like the following week, was the Hampton Inn on Hilton Head, because it was owned by the same management company, the hotel management company. So that's like my best advice, instead of going after only just like one thing, unless it's a huge thing. Or, in your area, I mean, this is a connected, humongous thing I'm sure we'll talk about later. But in my world, it was the management companies or the ownership groups. That was where I learned that's who you go to. Because, like, number one, the restaurant manager or the hotel manager, like, that's on the ground, a lot of times they can't make any decisions anyway. But if you find out, and, if they're, like, a single entity, a one unit place, Ryan's Hotel, that just lives on Hilton Head, they probably have no real process or understanding of like the extreme gangster marketing and digital offerings that you and I could provide. They just wouldn't understand. But that IT director of the restaurant management group or the hotel management ownership company, that guy totally gets it. And he's like, sign every one of these properties up tomorrow. And that was like my boom. In Facebook world, like when everyone started taking Facebook seriously, I was already doing it. And so like it was the no-brainer to have me kind of like take over. And funny story, and I'm going to stop. But this is just like to help people like understand, like going step by step. Like his journey from 1995 to now. The thing that really got me, and I still shout out to David Price today, when I finally like quit my actual job, like no more working for anyone, I hit up one of the people that I had worked for, as like regional boss that I had connected with, and this goes back to the networking thing, and his name was David Price. David Price, I hope you see one of these episodes one day, big dog, because you're still the man. But I called him, or I think I called him, I might have texted him, and I was like, listen, man, I was doing all this for your other hotels. If you got a need, man, I'm doing my own thing now. I'm not working for anybody else, just me. And he says, well, this guy sounded so country, but he lived up in New Jersey, so it was hilarious. He's like from like down here, but moved up here. Well, Ryan, I'll tell you what. I got 3 hotels down on Daytona Beach, and they could use some social media help. And I said, well, I sure would like to give them that social media help, Mr. Price. What do I need to do? And so he goes, well, I'll tell you what, if you do a good job with those 3, we got about 88 hotels there, son. And I was like, holy smokes, I'm about to be rich. And I was young, so I was like 23, 24 at the time. And I was like, man, I'm about to be balling. And I was doing pretty well there for a while, but that was my boom. And then, traveling so much and then getting married 2 years later, and like that kind of had to come to an end. And then it was more like, how do I figure out the best way to scale in the right way? And I never was one to like, I feel like I've always undercharged, But like, how do I scale or do more around here, or like make more revenue with the clients I've already got? And then that's where Kelly got it for me with chatbots. And I was like, this is the scalable thing. This is the thing that I can do even more so than websites, even though I was building websites too. I was like, this is the thing that I know every business is going to need, that they don't even know that they're going to need it yet, because this is like 10 years after social media existed. What do you think
That's
about
right.
that?
I mean, the whole thing has finally come together where we can all integrate everything
That's
together.
it.
And
That's it.
it's quite amazing what the opportunity that we all have here.
What do you think, besides what you're building, this is just like me being purely curious, like screw my chat GPT built questions here. What do you think's the coolest thing that you've made so far, either in chat GPT or in chat GPT builder, either
Okay,
one,
so
like as far as like what you've created that you can speak on, that would be
I'll
like
tell,
whether it's
I'll tell
fun
you.
or
So
whatever.
I'm working on two different things. So one of the things I'm working on is a restaurant application. That application itself is kind of like, you know how you do an offer
From Snapchat,
in the beginning to get a list together. So I want to have it so that they can kind of do their own offers. But one of the things I've also built in is subscriptions. You know how the parent clubs have their $12 sip club. Well, I ran into this guy out in Kansas City, and he was doing a subscription club for his brewery. And so he was making a crap ton of money. So I'm like, I'm going to make that. So I built that into it, and then it just kind of took on a life of its own. And another restaurant guy said, hey, I want this thing he saw at Chicago Pizza. So I built that. So I know a lot of guys that are working in restaurants and in the group and stuff like that. I'm kind of on a different path than most of you guys. So and there's a lot of restaurants, so don't worry about what I'm doing. But if you want to work with me, by all means, reach out. So what I'm doing is I've taken some of Chatbot Builder and put it into my application. So you can actually create a post in about 2 seconds and post it on, if you go to my Gary's Pizza, I don't know if any of you guys have seen that, but there's some posts on there that I've done. And I just basically, there's a list of holidays in our platform. You take a holiday, pick it, put in what you want to do. And sometimes I'm as basic as can be in what it produces for an image. And you guys can go look at it. And the text it blows me away because I hardly put it in.
That's so cool, man. That's what you can do is totally in this. I follow that Gary's Pizza page now. So every time that every time someone comments, I'm like, I get that notification, that's how social media works, guys. Listen, like if I forget where it was, but like somewhere in like the core values of of Facebook specifically, or maybe of Meta now, but it was like to, or maybe it was Messenger specifically. I forget. Someone's probably yelling at me in the comments, but it was like, the whole idea was just, to make meaningful connections and have meaningful interactions and engagements. Like that was the whole thing, things to have meaning. And I think that rule-based chatbots solved like the first half of that problem, but not the second half. Because basically the way I learned it was like, sure, great. If it could take my order from, Facebook, that's awesome when it came to restaurants. But like as soon as it asked something that I wasn't prepared for, and it would just give you that generic default, sorry, I didn't understand that. Even dialogue flow, like I thought I was pretty good at dialogue flow, but I couldn't think of every scenario.
No, that was the biggest problem. But we were a lot farther ahead than a lot of people were.
So far. And let me ask you this, because this is another just straight up like question that like AI guy to AI guy, and were you one of the people that were super duper pumped when you learned what could be done with LLMs, or were you one of the people that were like total skeptics, thinking this is just like guessing the next word as they say it? I guess that's technically what it's doing, sure, but like so many people that I knew brushed it off as like, why would you want this in a chatbot, dummy? Like so many people said this to me that now, like, they're like, yep, you were wrong. But I was like, man, this is from the moment I saw it, I like kind of knew. I was like, this is not the chatbot builder killer, this is the chatbot builder maker, man. This is gonna make this whole thing better. What would you think as a dialogue flow guy?
I knew that in 2019. What I could do with I could do quite a bit with dialogue flow back then. I had it, I had answering everything from beer questions to, I had a whole beer favorites. You could do all kinds of stuff with it. So I had it pretty far down, but it was challenging.
Difficult, time consuming.
I mean, compared to what we do now, my gosh, second.
You know, that was the thing. And then, you know, the next thing I heard from the OG dialogue, for a lot of machine learning guys are like, oh man, well, you can't trust this because of hallucinations, and they would like send me links to hallucinations, and like I was like, bro, come on, man, have a little bit more. I know what this is, but I've already done the things, and I've solved at least a lot of it. Not maybe everything, but this is like week 2 or 3, and I'm having these discussions with people because I wanted to gauge, like, are we on the right track? And then I just was like, man, we've got to be. This has got to be where it's going. It's like AI or nothing now, you know? Everything's got AI in it.
And then when OpenAI came out, I knew it was just a matter of time. But I didn't know of a tool that had it. And so I didn't know, you know, until I knew about you before this whole, you know, before this, I knew you had a product. I knew kind of what you were doing, but I wasn't paying that close of attention because I wasn't on that side of the restaurant product. I was on a different side of it. So I knew of you, but I didn't know much more. And then I saw, and I don't even know why I was following Danny, to be honest with you. I just was. And I think it was,
he's a mini chat educator.
Yeah, but I wasn't that. I mean, I just ran into him one day, and I'm like, he's interesting. I'll follow him. And you and him together was how I found out. Okay,
that's so cool. That's so cool. That's so cool. Yeah, that's for me. You know, it was for me. It was also restaurants that got me and like totally like immersed in what chatbots could do. The hotel thing too, because I was like, man, this chatbot is going to be able to do this job way more efficiently than I can, because I played that role of answering the phone in the front desk at a hotel before. This is my original degree that I got with hospitality, hotel, restaurant, tourism degree. And so, like, I've played all these parts in a restaurant and in a hotel, and I uniquely knew the problems. And in my area specifically, it was no restaurant around here had anything to do with online ordering. And I knew that from the corporate side of, I ran the largest restaurant group in my area. We had 17 or 16 restaurants at the time, and I was the marketing director there. And so I knew the value of email. We would send 60, 70,000 emails every Friday. And then we'd see the results on the weekend, because here's the redemptions. Well, getting the email is one thing because it was email. But when I saw what you could do with loyalty programs, this blew my mind. And the reason I left that restaurant group was after I helped, along with the help of Chad Horn and another integration software service, we made probably the first ever real loyalty app among a restaurant group internally. And it was like the most gangster 6-month project we could do today in 2 days, but like back then it was 6 months to just calculate and provide points to these restaurants. When I saw, I was like, oh my god, this is what we can do with Facebook bots now because of the ability to count. That was like all it took for me to understand. When Kelly showed us the quiz bot that would count the number of points that you would get correctly versus incorrectly, that I was like, if you can do that, you can do anything. That was my aha moment. And then what made me so happy was, unlike you and unlike my father, for example, who have all that infrastructure knowledge to build all like the old school gangster programs from nothing, I had to start with an API. And so using Facebook's API was the best way to go, because it like showed me all of the things that we could possibly do. I was like, oh my god, this is like the schematic. This is like they're telling exactly. And now that's a lot easier now. Like ChatGPT is going to make, I do think there's something to be said that more and more people, and I think it'll be more and more open source. I think there'll be tools out there. Joel was speaking about a device. I forget what it was called. It was called the Rabbit or something, maybe. It's going to come out on Easter, is how I remember he said this. But it's like, think of it as like those little, remember those things on your keychain? Those little like some Japanese stuff, like, I don't know, it's like a little, you could press it, I can't pronounce it obviously, but you could press this little thing and like talk to it, it would talk back, I don't know. It's a little square object that like basically is going to be able to for example, say you sign in and you've connected with your email or your Facebook before on this little device, right? And it's got a camera on it and stuff. You could say, or have it say, ooh, take a picture of this and then email it to my dad. Like if you're, walking around or something. It's kind of the idea. Or like the ChatGPT Vision deal, which Apple's going to just take over next year, by the way. So like I'm totally waiting for that. That's going to be so good. But imagine like you're touring someplace and you're like, oh, if I'm here, how do I get home fastest? Or how do I get back to the hotel? Or how do I get to the museum? Theoretically, because of the GPS and like what it can see, they should be able to like, give you all sorts of help to go here to there. And I don't know, man. It's just going to be ingrained everywhere now. There's no putting the cat back in the bag, right? Cat is out. Let's see. I got a couple more questions. I don't want to take too much of your time here. Where do you see, like, for me, it's like, okay, what could be next? We like legitimately have everything, but what do you see next? I guess video would be my thought. Like real gangster, readily made video, not just runway stuff, whatever that thing's called. I mean, what do you think is coming next as far as AI or what we're going to see?
Question. I've been so wrapped up in just doing what I'm doing that I haven't even really thought that far ahead yet. I mean, I just yesterday played with the assistant and made that speak and things like that. I hadn't even done that yet, as I'm mostly doing API stuff, pulling stuff from my database to bring into the chatbot to do things.
That's what makes the most sense for a lot of folks. We're going to do a video on how to make a CRM and have CBB power that thing. We'll probably use either app sheets or Glide apps.
Here's what I'm kind of doing. So I'm going to have my database in my database and my database in your database. So it's almost like a backup.
Yep, that's how I see it too. It's like it's a double backup. A big client of ours does the same thing with Salesforce. But yeah, like in some cases, having a separate interface in what we offer just totally makes sense for businesses. I think hopefully in most cases, for this, the standard plan folks, like you don't need anything else. In your case, you're doing some gangster stuff, so you're gonna, I get your you're doing. I love your program, by the way. I remember going through the demo, seeing how it works.
I haven't done it. That's videos yet, but I will be here in the next week or so.
Sweet. Well, the video, I think that's where it's at, dude. I think it, I think the only real way that I was found this year, I've never had success on YouTube. I think legitimately has just been the interest and lack of content, lack of saturation. So to everyone else out there, you see what's happening when he's doing it. He's legitimate proof. You're the third podcast interview I've done with a subscriber or a co-creator of ours that's seen success, and all of them have leveled up.
He's gone crazy. I mean, he's giving you his platform, and you can make.
Yeah, man.
So, he's crazy.
I'm crazy. I am, but I'm crazy because really we're all the same, and I'm going to do it. We just broke the matrix, and I hope, just like people think it's a joke, but I swear I hope people. In 1 year from now, I will feel like not massive failure, but I will feel like I've failed if we don't make like at least 100 millionaires, man, because we could do it. Like we could really, really do it, and then the game is over for the platform space, and for a while, at least in the chatbot world. But because all of our people will have everything, which is kind of my ultimate plan, if you will, and like CBB will rule, but there won't be a CEO here with 8 Lambos. It'll be everybody that's like wanting what they want. They can get what they want because there's no stopping them. There's no things holding you back, and that's what sucks with the SaaS model that I think that will hopefully die off. And as AI is better and better and better, it's going to have to. I see the signs, and to me, it's like some of these softwares are scraping it. Like, how much can we like not give and keep? And I'm like doing the opposite. And I think it sounds crazy, but it's gonna be done eventually, anyways.
I'm very similar because I'm tired of how much some of these guys charge these restaurants, and it's like this is not that hard to do, and you guys can do it some of you can do it on your own. Not everybody can. Some people need somebody to do it for them. But the guys that can do it, they just don't have the tools to do it. That's the problem.
That's it. And sometimes you have people that don't want to do it. Like, you know, in our case of the restaurant group I worked for, like, you know, so here's a great example. So we had so many menus to deal with. The last thing that they want, like, it wouldn't make sense for their director of marketing to be the one that's updating their menus all across every website and every freaking social platform and all of the menu web, like Yelp and all this stuff. So instead, what did I do? I used a service. It was a single platform. I think they were purchased by Yelp or TripAdvisor or something like that recently. But like that was an awesome service that I would just be able to like snap a photo of the menus that were updated or like send off the PDFs, and they would have things that updated it through all their API connections. They would just upload it once, and it was a great service. But you can do anything you want today, guys. Like, I feel like all the times where, now some things, you know, put it this way, I'm 5'9". Some people that are 5'9" can dunk a basketball. Ryan Bizzle here ain't never dunking, no matter how many Jordans I buy. I mean, unless you give me a trampoline. If you give me a trampoline, that's like AI. AI Ryan can dunk. Regular Ryan can't dunk. But with AI, guys, you can do amazing things. The app that you never thought you could build, the experience, the GPT, the thing that, like, with technology you never thought you could do. I think we're at a place in time where it's totally possible, and my man Gary here is living proof of that. And I think we're going to have, I'm sure this isn't the last time you're going to be on here, man. You're going to have success after success after success. And tell people that are interested in your services how best to reach you, or best to contact you, or if you're like not taking clients right now, what's the story
not
there?
Not taking clients yet, but do have clients
Gotcha.
on it, but we'll be taking clients in about a week.
Cool, man. Well, any final thoughts, last words before we jump out of here? This is too much fun.
You guys go get it. There's a huge opportunity here.
Go get it. Huge opportunity. And man, major league, big deal. I can't wait to hear more details. I can't wait to share. Thank you for joining us, man. I know this was like, guys, you realize that he posted this thing. All my days are mixed together, so I don't know if it was today or yesterday. It was today. And then like an hour and a half ago or so, I was like, man, listen, let's jump on this thing. We've been talking about it. Let's do the podcast. Let's do it right now. And I'm just sitting here expecting him to be like, nah, bro, are you crazy? He goes, let's do it. And I was like, you serious? I was like, Asta, get the thumbnail ready. Wendy, deal with all the other crap because you're the queen at everything. And I was like, oh man, now I gotta like take a shower. Crap, I don't have the time to take a shower. And I was like, well, whatever. We're gonna do it. I don't have time for anything, man. Like, but that's gonna change. AI is fixing everything, but right now there's some human TLC that needs to be taken care of still, you know. And for me, like, not podcasting necessarily, but this is what I'd rather be doing, is like helping one-on-one in like the agencies like you, getting the big problem solved. And my team's so good with experts, and our chatbot is so good. The businesses that want the one-shot prompt, you got that covered, man. You'll never have to worry about customer service stuff on Facebook or Instagram or, you know, your website again type deal. Like, that can be a thing. And then when you want to go big, like my man Gary here, you've got the tools, or at least some of the tools to get the job done. In his case, the project's so robust, it does take more than just CBB, you know, and that's where the additional value comes from. That's what Kelly was also getting at. The folks out there that just want to sell the chatbot with a PDF knowledge base in there, sorry, son. That's going to be like a thing provided by default going forward. The way to make the money is to provide value like he's doing, like he's going to share later on once he can, and solving problems, big or small, consistently. That's the key. But man, thank you so much for joining us, dude. You are the man. And this won't be the last time we see Gary. And I will see you soon, man. I'll talk to you right after this. and chatbot builders, y'all, this guy's doing it. He's proof. He's in our Facebook group almost every day, not asking for anything, just helping. Like, this guy's just helping people, because when you do help, number one, karma's a thing. Good things happen to you. I believe that. I believe that's proof of that. You know, like if the proof is there. If you go look in the group or whatever, you see this dude's all the time helping. And then what happens? Bam. Chilling in a coffee shop with his daughter, and it's like dealing with major league deals here now. This is how it works. If you're not making video content about AI, you're just going to be sad later that you didn't. That's the only thing that'll happen. Especially if you're using our tool, because it's going to just make you look amazing and awesome, because you're doing things that even the top % of people in AI don't even think is possible. They don't believe it's possible that I can call Snoop Dogg right now on my phone and he's going to answer. And they say, how can I help you with Chatbot Builder, homie? It's true. And man, I can't wait for him to be able to share more details. I've seen his actual product. It's super legit. It solves a big problem. And it's scalable. And that's what's so cool. I was just reading an article on of 2023. So many AI solo entrepreneurs, $20,000 a month applications out there. You know, the PDF guy was making like $500,000 a month. He's still making bread, even though we have ChatGPTs. That said, he lost like, a huge portion of his base, but he's still at least one of those companies that's still solving a problem that ChatGPT alone can't. And that's where the biggest value is. OpenAI says it themselves in their documentation. In Ryan's paraphrase of the specific paragraph in I'm mentioning here, to make your stuff way more gangster, integrate with external tools. That's literally what they say. They say to make your stuff better, or to do XYZ, prompt chaining is a thing where they'll say break your prompts down. Another idea is to integrate with external tools. Now, the big companies, they want all the money, and so they're going to tell you what their other friends with big money tell you to do, which is, Zapier telling ChatGPT, hey, let's partner up, break each other off, I'm sure, a little bit here and there. Every time you use a Zap, this is costing money. So this is to all you AI gurus out there that are encouraging people to use a Zapier chatbot to run a Zap for every single thing. You guys are building the most expensive chatbots in the world. And this is why you're not selling anything. And this is why some YouTubers have just stopped making YouTube videos, because I think it's like game over for them. Meanwhile, people like me and Gary and the rest of their Chatbot Builder family, we're exploding because we're doing the right things, building powerful tools, solving big problems. And that is what it's about. Guys, thank you for joining me on this quick podcast. Gary is the man, and I hope that he goes as big as absolutely possible, just like I hope the same for you guys. Anything that we can do to help you, you let us know. Stay tuned. We might be giving away some more of these free hats. Wendy's got some more designs she's cooking up in the lab. We've got more in GPTs. I'll still be adding to the store. And if you haven't been to the GPT store yet, the Chatbot Builder AI GPT store, you can sell your GPTs right now. We've already had our first sale, $150 sale. And it's very easy. There's no picking and choosing of that. You just put your purchase link in there. We do go through a human manual process to approve these things. So that's why there's not so many. We don't approve everything because we actually check stuff. And that's something that not all companies would be willing to do or could do. But for now we can, and so we will. So now's the time. And our GPTs, where do they work, y'all? Everywhere. But anyways, so much fun hanging out. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for the support, and